It was November 13th, 2007, my birthday. I woke up in a mental hospital on a suicide watch after suicide attempt. Sitting on my hospital bed, 4 or 5 people rushed to the door, a doctor and a nurse and the social workers, and I wasn't doing well. I was just a broken man, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially. It was very, very bad. I've struggled with depression my whole life. In my 30s, I was diagnosed with PTSD and major clinical depression, but since childhood, I've been struggling with not being good enough, not being lovable, not being worthy of love, of parents' love especially. I had a tough, tough, tough childhood. And if you are listening to this and if you are wondering if emotional pain and suffering will ever end, I'm here to tell you it does end. I have healed. It's been now since 2022. I'm a healed man. I live wonderful life today in peace, freedom, love, joy, authenticity. I have a great life today. Let me tell you that in the past, it wasn't always that bad. There are short, fleeting moments of happiness and peace, but they were always conditional. I would always put condition on things. If I make this amount of money, if I have this job, if I have this girlfriend, if I drive this car, if I travel the world, then I would be happy. Well, I've done all those things and it hasn't brought me happiness. Maybe just a fleeting one, 10 minutes or 10 hours or 10 days, but that deep emotional pain and suffering would always come back. Always. 5 years ago, in 2021, in the middle of the COVID, my life on the outside looked great. My business was doing okay. I was in a relationship with a great lady. I lived in a nice place with a lake view. I drove a nice car. I had the friends. So outside looked really nice. But inside, I was dying. Just slow emotional death. As I was driving my car to my girlfriend's house and I was parking in front of her house, something happened. I started to shaking. I started to cry. I was overwhelmed. And then today, I think it was my higher power, my higher mind, came this message that it doesn't have to be like that, Samir. There is a better way. A few hours later, it was around 3 o'clock in the morning. I got in my car and I drove all the way down to my place in Palm Springs. From Seattle to Palm Springs, about 21 hours. And I was in Palm Springs. I didn't know how I'm going to get better. I didn't know what's going to happen and where it's going to happen. But for the first time ever, for the first time in my life, I knew why. I wanted to heal. I didn't want to live that life in desperation any longer. I wanted to be my best version for my granddaughter, for my daughter, for my friends and family members, for myself, most importantly. After a few weeks in Palm Springs, my friend Kevin introduced me to his friend, Tommy, and Tommy became my mentor. One day, actually, let me show you the picture of the Tommy. I have it here. I'm technologically challenged, so I don't know how to do it better, but this is Tommy and I in 2020, end of 21, beginning 22, when we started with the healing process. We met for the first time in a coffee shop here in Palm Springs downtown. He's a gentleman in his 80s, and he drove with his wife, and Tommy and I sat at one table, and his wife was on the other side of the shop. And just after a few minutes of conversation, actually of me talking, Tommy said, "Hey, Samir, this is not for the coffee shop. Let's go home and let's have real talk." I said, "Okay, that's great." So Tommy and I drove to his home in Desert Hot Springs. We stayed there for 6 hours. I was telling him my life story. We were crying and praying and crying, and he told me the story. He said, "Samir, 40 something years ago, I was struggling emotionally just like you are struggling right now. So 40 something years ago, I met a gentleman who became my mentor, who guided me through the process. And Samir, now for 40 plus years, I live wonderful life. I live in peace and freedom. And what I can offer you is guidance if you are willing to put the work in." I said, "Tommy, here I am. I'm going to do anything. Whatever you ask me, whatever you tell me, I'll do it." He said, "There are a couple of things that are necessary. And the first thing is you have to be authentic, honest, 100%. Not 95 or 99. You have to be authentic, 100%. And the second thing, Samir, you have to be willing to go to the deepest and darkest corners of your life." So Tommy said, "Samir, I want you to start writing. As soon as you come home tonight, Samir, I want you to start writing. I want you to start writing about your life from the childhood all the way to the present day. Just write whatever comes to your mind, Samir, just write down. And in that writing, I want you to look for the patterns, behavioral patterns in your life. I want you to look for the action that you are taking. And when you do that, we will get back together and I'm going to give you another task." So after over 1,000 pages that I wrote, these are just few, after 1,000 plus pages that I wrote, some behavioral patterns were very obvious to me. And I went back to Tommy. I said, "Tommy, here it is." And we read the things, we talk about it. And then he said, "Samir, so this was the path that you had taken. Now I want you to go home, and on one page, I want you to either write or get a diagram together or get some formula. So all these 1,000 plus pages that you wrote, I want you to explain it to me within 5 minutes." I said, "Okay." So I came home and I started to write and write and write how to put everything together. And that's how I came up with the cycle of insanity. So I went back to Tommy with the cycle of insanity. And again, I just want to make sure you know, in a follow in the videos to come, I'm going to explain to you into the details all 10 months of my healing process with Tommy. This is just kind of introductory video. And Tommy said, hey, Samir, this cycle of insanity is phenomenal. I love it. I get it. Now I want you to go home and replace path that you had taken with the path that you would have taken. So all these things that you did in the past, I want you now to write down what would you have done differently. So I did that. I took it to Tommy. We read it, we talked about, and Tommy said, Samir, now I want you to go home and I want you on one page, diagram, formula, whatever it is, I want you to explain me the path that you would have taken. I said, okay, Tommy. I came home, I worked on it, and that's when I came with the cycle of sanity. So from cycle of insanity to cycle of sanity, from the path that I had taken to the path that I would have taken, which eventually gave me path forward. After we did that, he was like, Samir, now I want you to read this book. It was a book by, actually I have it here somewhere. Oh, there we go. By Dr. David Hawkins, The Pathway of Surrender, The Pathway to Let Go. And then he said, Samir, I want you to learn about energy. This book is good beginning, but I want you to study now. I want you to study energy, vibration, and frequency. I was like, I will do that, Tommy, whatever you want me to do. And I just want you to know, within this 10 months, period of 10 months, I've had so many terrible moments. And when I would tell that to Tommy, he would tell me, Samir, that's normal. Don't worry about that. I've been through the similar things. I want you now, Samir, to do this. When you get that really, really bad time, bad feelings, I want you to create a short video, maybe 20, 30 seconds, because those shorts video in the future will help you and will help many others. So that's what I did. And I have probably around 30, 40, maybe even 50 short videos that I'm gonna also upload on my shorts, so that you have an idea, you know, me going through the process and all the tears and it was bad. So after I studied about energy and vibration and frequency, and I went to Tommy again, and he said, Samir, now I want you again to put everything in a diagram, in a formula, on a one page, so that you are able to explain it to me within 5 minutes. I said, okay. So I came home, I came up with this diagram or loop: energy, vibration, frequency, thoughts, beliefs, feelings, actions. When I brought that to him, he was like, Samir, this is excellent. This is phenomenal. Now you have all these three formulas: cycle of insanity, cycle of insanity, and the energy loop formula. Now I want you, Samir, to go out there and find people to help. I said, Tommy, but what about me? He said, Samir, you have been healed, but you don't know that yet. I want you to go out there and find somebody to help. So I did. You know, there are no coincidences, just synchronicities. And then I would meet a guy or another guy, or some friend would call me and ask me to guide them, and there was some success and some not so successful story, but I was helping people. Until one day he was like, now, Samir, I want you to start making videos. I said, Tommy, start making videos. You know, I don't know how to do that. I'm technologically challenged. My English is not good enough. My accent is not good enough. I was finding all these reasons. He was like, Samir, let me tell you the story. I said, okay. He was like, Samir, you are in the desert, Sahara Desert. You are traveling through the desert. You are on your camel and you have a couple of other camels behind you, and you have hundreds and hundreds of gallons of beautiful, clean, pristine, iced water. And as you are traveling through the Sahara Desert, there are people begging you, Samir, please give us some water so we can live. Please, Samir, give us some water. And I tell them, you, Samir, you tell them, oh, I would give it to you, but I don't know how. At that moment, I got it. I understood. So there we go. This is the first video, and I'm going to make a series of videos in order to help just one person. And if this is something that you would like to listen to, I'm going to create, I don't know how many, but every other day I'm going to create a new video, go into the details of exactly how I today live peaceful life. I have freedom today, and my freedom is not conditional. It's not freedom from, it's not freedom to, it's just freedom. I have joy in life. I have love in my life. I'm authentic. I just live a good life today, and I will share that with you. So I'm going to see you in the new video. Thank you.